So talk about the SSI Restoration Act then too, because what does this do? I know it's Raul Grieva and someone who we're not necessarily flowery about on this program, Representative Slotkin. They're backing this. What would this do?
Yeah, there are actually a lot of folks now who are interested in SSI and improving SSI in the Hill. Ayanna Presley has been a fierce champion. Representative Bowman has been a fierce champion. Senator Warren. I've spent the morning thinking about Virginia. Senator Warren, my senator from Massachusetts, Senator Sanders. There are a lot of folks now who on the Hill who are really paying attention and have for a long time to this issue of improving SSI. So the SSI Restoration Act is this piece of legislation that's on the shelf. It's ready to go. It can be part of budget reconciliation. Senator Schumer, I'm talking to you. It would do a bunch of good things. It would raise that $2,000 asset rule to something more reasonable, at least $10K. So you can have some savings when the Texas utility company turns off the power and you're a disabled person trying to struggle, like figure out how you're going to get through the night. Maybe you have a little bit of savings so you can go to a motel and not die. Maybe you're in the Pacific Northwest and you need to buy more masks to get through fire season, right? Increasing that asset limit. It would also increase the, right now you're allowed to, these numbers haven't been updated since I think the 70s. You're allowed to earn like $20 a month before they start penalizing you. Those numbers would be indexed to inflation so that things cost more. They just do every year. That's what inflation is. In this program, the asset limits and the amount that you're allowed to earn before you're penalized haven't kept pace with inflation. So it would increase those numbers to be in line with inflation. It would get rid of that rule that says if someone helps you out with a bag of groceries, and I got to tell you, I've been there as an SSI beneficiary when the cupboard was empty and my last $3 went to the Medicaid copay, the $3.65 copay for the medication that keeps me alive, and I didn't have any food. It would change the rule that penalizes people who get some mutual aid. It would eliminate that rule completely, and the same thing with housing. It would also just increase the amount of the benefit, because right now it's $794 a month, which is about 75% of the federal poverty line. It is not even level with the federal poverty line. It is below the federal poverty line. So for the 8 million Americans who rely on SSI, it would be a huge deal. I've got to tell you, I know it doesn't seem like a lot of money, jumping from 75% of the federal poverty line all the way up to 100% of the federal poverty line, but there were months that would have made my life a lot easier. I wouldn't have been worried about being houseless or not being able to buy the medications that literally keep me alive. So it's not a very expensive bill. We're not talking about a lot of money. There are about 8 million Americans who rely on this, and the SSI Restoration Act would, in very real, meaningful, and concrete ways, make their lives, the lives of those 8 million people, including about 1 million kids, less horrific. Just, it's a hellscape trying to survive on SSI. In the SSI Restoration Act, which we can include in budget reconciliation, SSI can be fixed through budget reconciliation. SSDI can't, but SSI can. Senator Schumer, you've got a chance to improve the lives of 8 million Americans who are struggling to make it through the end of the month.
All right. Well, listen, Matthew, I know you have a heart out in literally 2 minutes, and I want to have you back on the show, so we can talk about this a little bit more in depth. But, the point is, folks can text, give it to us one more time. And I would include in that, we will also put in Chuck Schumer's number in the description so that people can call Chuck Schumer's office. It is sign SSI now to 50409. Call Chuck Schumer's office, tell him to put into the reconciliation bill the SSI Restoration Act of 2021. Matthew, I wish we had more time. I know you had this hard out, and we will do this again.
I appreciate it. I have to go do the chronically ill American in a pandemic thing and wait on hold with doctors' offices and insurers. I deeply appreciate the show in your audience, and thank you.
All right. Well, I appreciate you too. And we will also put up your Twitter feed. People can follow you on Twitter as well.
Matt BC. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Sean from North California says, on a side note for the topic of the interview, the state of California sent out $600 checks to underprivileged residents. People on disability received that money except for SSDI. It's not the same as we've been talking about here, SSI, except for SSDI recipients did not receive that money. I mean, I just contemplate the dynamic here. If you get help from people, if you get help from people, you suddenly are not eligible for 3/4 of the poverty line assistance by the federal government. I mean, it is just stunning. And so text sign SSI now, as in sign the bill, SIGN SSI now to 50409. You can get involved in that way. Also, call Chuck Schumer. If Chuck Schumer's office happens to be listening today, make sure this is in the bill. Schumer's Manhattan office is 212-486-4430. So check it out. Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.